is proud of him. After that, the brothers are now outside their dad's office, while Chang-suk can't help himself but curse, as he states loudly that he doesn't know who told his wife the location of the hotel, but if he catches that bastard, he is going to tear him into pieces, while looking at Changbyum's direction. However, his threats were not heard by him, since Changbyum is just too stunned by what he just heard from his father. The same father, who used to be always strict, acknowledged him. He also patted his shoulder, complimenting him that he did well. Now that he experienced it firsthand, he was determined for it to keep happening from now on. At a later time, Changbyum is now inside his car with Hyun-sung. He then thanks him for his advice, and because of it, he was complimented by his father. Now that he believes Hyun-sung's words to be legit, he asks to tell him what must he do to become the chairman, because he will listen to anything he says. Hyun-sung responds, telling him not to get too excited, since the only thing they did was to bring Chang-suk back to the starting line of background, and to become the chairman, he has to win the other 2 rounds. He has some plans, but it's hard to execute them right now. So for now, he tells Changbyum to join the company as a minor employee and learn how things work. Then, he will tell him the plan when the time is right. Which Changbyum questions it at first, but since he witnessed Hyun-sung's advice work flawlessly, he willingly accepts. He even states that he would do anything he tells him to do. Now that Hyun-sung is willingly cooperating with him, without questions, he tells him that there is one more thing he wants him to do, which he immediately asks what it is. So Hyun-sung tells him if he remembers the conversation they had in the cafe, and that they are working together because they both have things they want from each other. For helping him, Changbyum promised to grant him his wish. Changbyum tells him to just spell it out, because there's nothing he won't do for him. Hearing him say this delighted Hyun-sung, so he told him what he wanted. The next day, the review committee has now commenced. The mother of Jung Min-ho, named Kim Sunja, slaps Young Chol, while calling him a fucking bastard, and because he just let someone beat up her son, she is more than willing to humiliate him, and if he does not expel the bastard who did it, she assures him that she would get him fired, to which he responds that he understands. With this, she leaves him, while Young Chol's having an existential crisis right now, contemplating what to do. He then goes over to convince Hyun-sung to apologize, for him to avoid getting expelled, and it is the only way to minimize his punishment, which Hyun-sung outright tells him that he does not want to, and he adds that he understands Jung Min-ho's mother is pressuring him. However, he asks him, if would he prefer that he disclose his hush money, or cheating on his wife. With this, he understood that if Hyun-sung falls, he will fall with him. Soon after, Young Chol went inside the review committee room, while the principal was already having a conversation with Jung Min-ho's mother, telling her not to worry, since he got this situation under his control. Young Chol then sits on his designated chair, while thinking, he is doomed, because whether he becomes an adulterous husband or a corrupt teacher, there won't be a place he can stay in Daesan. So now he could only ask himself, what can he do with all the money he saved? However, all his thoughts flew away when he saw the man, who was with Hyun-sung. Afterwards, the committee meeting starts, and in order to inform everyone about what happened exactly, the advisor of the perpetrator, Kim Young-chol, was required to explain what happened. Therefore, without a single moment passed, he stood up while exclaiming that the cause of this case is too clear, and that the bullies of this school, including Jung Min-ho, first started harassing their classmates. So he declares that this is an absurd case, where the attacker is being treated as the victim. He was sure about his decision, because before all of this happened, he recognized the man, who was with Hyun-sung, and he was sure that it was the man he saw in the red light district, which means Kim Hyun-sung's legal guardian is the eldest son of Myung-jin Construction. When he saw the list of the attendants, he thought it was a different person with the same name. Go Changbyum is a tycoon, while Jung Min-ho's parents can't even compare to him. Now questions filled his mind, asking himself how such a man become Kim Hyun-sung's guardian. But since he is a man of commitment and pure greed, he knows that he doesn't have enough time to think about this, because what's important right now is to find a way to survive. He is the only one here who knows that he is the real Go Changbyum, so it's his only chance to switch lanes. Now in the present, the principal can't believe what Young Chol has said to them. Therefore he asks him to clarify and tell them precisely what happened to avoid misunderstanding. He obliged, so he told them that for a long time, he was receiving a lot of reports claiming that Park Min-chol's group was harassing their fellow students. At first, he adequately scolded them not to do such things anymore, but as time passed by, their harassment started getting worse. A few days ago, Park Min-chul was bullying student Lee Jungmin and Kim Hyun-sung, who watched it happen, and as he looks at Hyun-sung, he understood that he must sell his story to the fullest of his capabilities. So with his heart, he told them that Hyun-sung asked them to stop. They were classmates after all, and he tried to stop them with pure intention. But Park Min-chul called his friends and started threatening Hyun-sung. He then turns to everyone, trying to convince them to think about this, as he asks if they can stand still when someone tries to harm them, because student Kim Hyun-sung was just protecting himself. The incident involving student Jung Min-ho follows the same logic. After arriving to help Min-chul, the front line of Park Min-chul's group, student Jung Min-ho assaulted student Hyun-sung as he tried to defend himself. In order to not get beaten again, student Kim Hyun-sung had no choice but to take action. He knows that his way went a little far, but, even after knowing what exactly happened, if they only punish student Kim Hyun-sung, they will become grown-up scumbags who ignore the fundamental problem of bullying in school. With this, his performance concludes, shocking everyone who heard it. Even the principal couldn't believe it. So in order to render the statement of Young-chul invalid, he tells him to not get out of the point here, because they were just talking about this heinous incident in which 4 students were sent to the hospital first time in the history of this school, and the information that the victims started the bullying isn't confirmed, and it has nothing to do with their current topic. Whatever the perpetrator's reason may be, violence can't be accepted. On top of that, he has never heard about a student doing something this brutal. With just these few words, the table has been turned, and now Jung Min-ho and his mother is grinning as if they have won already. Then the principal continues his speech, saying that they all are alumni of Bright Prospects High School, and it makes his heart ache terribly to choose who did wrong. But punishment is necessary. In order to stop an incident like this from happening again, they must find out what exactly happened and punish the perpetrator properly. They should do that to help the parents of their students, who have entrusted them. The Bright Prospects High School can go home with peace of mind. So first, he tells them to hear from student Jung Min-ho about what happened, since the victim's testimony should be more accurate. Therefore, without hesitation, as if he was born for this specific situation, he started to tell them, while shaking in trauma, telling them that what he experienced is completely different from what that teacher had just said, because when he was walking by, all he saw was Kim Hyun-sung beating Min-chul, who was already down. He asked the other students, and they told him Kim Hyun-sung had just started swinging his fists without any reason. They can get another witness to validate him. While Hyun-sung couldn't believe the audacity of this bitch, Jung Min-ho then continued, saying that it was the fact that Kim Hyun-sung was the one who started the fight. He is only telling them the truth. When he saw his friend was getting beaten, all he did was run towards them. But without hesitation, Kim Hyun-sung raises a weapon. Of course, he is sure Kim Hyun-sung was threatened as many people rushed towards him. But Min-chul was in such bad shape that they didn't have time to think about how Kim Hyun-sung would feel. Honestly, he doesn't understand why a teacher would blame this all on them. And that's only part of what Kim Hyun-sung did, because after the teacher scolded Kim Hyun-sung, he didn't know if it was because that upset him, but he came to look for him again and beat him again. He didn't do anything, but he beat him in front of the others too. After all this, he asks them if it is really his fault, while covering his grin with his hands. And to further convince everyone, the mother of Jung Min-ho stepped up, as she used her acting ability to its maximum potential. She asked them, how could this happen? A violence happening in the school. So how could she understand this? It happened only to her son for now. But they won't know when this might happen to the other kids. They, the parents, shouldn't just ignore this. They have to punish the bully. With this, the other parents agree, believing nothing can justify hitting someone like that. So now everyone is in favor of Jung Min-ho. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, the 3 goons are passing the time, while they believe that Kim Hyun-sung is being screwed right now, because of the temper of Min-ho's mother, a soccer mom who flips over the school for Min-ho. They are sure that she would not let things go easy after seeing her son's face end up like that. Then Min-chul got a bright idea, as if he didn't just receive the beating of his life. Now he has the audacity to think if Hyun-sung doesn't get expelled, he will harass him until he cries and begs. And if Hyun-sung gets expelled, he is going to keep chasing him to ask for indemnity. With this, they are thinking of the future, where they have it easy, not realizing what's in store for them. Back at the review committee meeting, Go Changbyeom expresses his scorn. Now that he is pissed, he doesn't hesitate to curse at them, and tell them to talk about what actually happened while calling them bitches. He then asks if they are all going to ignore this, or do they really not know anything. And don't they think that a demon with the face of a human planned all this to happen? To which the principal was triggered by it, ordering him not to call their student a demon, but Go Changbyeom does not care. So he asks the principal what he should call a demon if not demon, because he has personally looked into this Park Min-chul's group, and they have been harassing, robbing, and stealing from the other students. They are quite famous, so famous that there isn't a person who doesn't know him around here. So he asks the principal why he is trying to cover up his mess. Could he be that stupid, or did he take a bribe from those bastards? And he knows that several ambulances came to the school because those Park Min-chul group guys fell down. But all that happened because Hyun-sung was trying to defend himself. His advisor also mentioned that they have to look into the fundamental problem of this case. And let's all be honest here, when they were young, did they just stand still when those kinds of thugs beat them? Hearing all this, Jung Min-ho's mother could not let it slide, so she called him a fucker, and asked him who the hell he is, because she heard that Kim Hyun-sung doesn't even have parents, so who the fuck is he to talk that way? To which Go Changbyeom could only grin, since he knows he is going to wreck this bitch's whole career in a few sentences. Before all this happens, inside the car, Hyun-sung asks him to become his custodian, and that is because, in order to defeat an enemy with a lot of things, he too should have a lot of things. Among the things he needs, there is one thing he can get only from Go Changbyeom, and that is power. Hyun-sung decides to be honest with him, so he tells him that he plans to cause many problems in their school, not just some minor skirmishes that are a common occurrence in school, but accidents big enough to cause legal problems. And every time that happens, he is hoping he will back him up and help him solve the problem. With him on his back, Hyun-sung is sure at least in Daesan, no one would be able to lay a finger on him. And if he can do this properly for him, and show something that can satisfy him, he will promise that, no matter what he has to do, he will make him the chairman of Myeongjin Construction Company, or maybe something even higher than that. To which he responds, telling Hyun-sung that he doesn't have to worry about that, since he is great at those kinds of things, and whatever he does, hit someone or do anything else, it won't even be a problem. With this, he proudly introduced himself to everyone that he is Hyun-sung's custodian, and the eldest son of Myeongjin Construction Company. Hit that like button and thanks for watching.